Hey, it's noirnerd. This is another episode of my console.log vlog video series. It's more my vlogging side of the noirnerd channel. And I thought I'd do something a bit different this time, so I've decided to do a hot takes video where I sort of put a few controversial opinions out there. And I stress these are opinions that I'm going to be talking about here, my opinions, so not the gospel truth as it were, but basically just some hot topics in web development and my own personal spin on them, I guess. So I'll just start with number one. WordPress. Now you'll see this come up a lot in developer forums and developer web discussions amongst web developers online. Is some people tend to think of doing WordPress development as not proper development, or that it's somehow a lesser form of development because you've got like tools like builders, you've got themes that you can use. Because it's been around for so long and it's got such a large community around it, people seem to think that it's not an infrastructure or ecosystem that's worth developing for, or not that they don't see it's not worth developing for, more that they just look down on it. It's a sort of sneering thing. It's like not real coding or whatever. My personal take on this, my spicy take, is this is obviously not true. There's several areas in WordPress development that you can really get ahead in and actually make some sort of decent portfolio with. Of course, there's plugin development, theme development, so that's making bespoke plugins, so new plugins for the community, and you can even charge for that. Some people do that. They make a bit of money by designing plugins that people use for their WordPress sites. And the other one, of course, is theme development, so creating predefined themes for people to use and modify and customize to their. I mean, I've never really understood why people look down on it so much. Maybe because it's been around for a long time. But if you look on the perks of WordPress, and I'm not saying it's fit for purpose for every use case. You wouldn't want to use WordPress to create some sort of like bespoke web application, or I don't know, like something that required a lot of customizable back-end calls and this sort of thing. It's not really designed for that. It's good for SMEs. So like, for example, if you had a client who was a consultant and they wanted to blog some biographies of profiles of their consultants and like a news page and stuff, does the job, and it's easy to, and they can add their own content if they need to update it, like add a post. They can have someone to do that. As a functional CMS, it's not actually that free bad. So I don't know why I get so much hate sometimes. Anyway, that's my opinion on that. I don't do so much WordPress development myself these days, but I do occasionally work on it if it comes up in freelance work. But yeah. Okay, hot take number 2. This is not really a hot take, really. It sort of should be obvious, but I've seen a lot in the developer community people sort of being snobbish around HTML as well. Like, people want to get into coding and learn HTML. This really frustrates me, actually. This frustrates me a lot because, I mean, it's probably where you should be starting when you're starting off coding, especially if you're going to be focusing on the front end stack. You need to understand HTML and obviously CSS as well. You can get onto like grid and flexbox and all that with the CSS later on, but HTML in itself is not it's nothing to be sneered at when we want to learn HTML, and you need to start there, because even if you're like coding in a React library, like JavaScript library like React, that is rendered as JSX, which is basically HTML and JavaScript mixed together. So you still need to have a fundamental understanding of how HTML works if you're going to be building things in a modern React or Vue or whatever library, because fundamentally it's still HTML that's rendered out essentially. So that sort of winds me up. I see that sometimes online in different communities that I'm involved in, where people sort of look down on learning HTML, which really doesn't make any sense, because it's an entry level knowledge prerequisite really to learning any sort of web development. Of course, you're not going to be learning about doing tables for layout or something stupid like that, which is like 90s web development, but still at the same time it is a necessary step. And HTML is like a good thing to learn, HTML and CSS, when you're starting off, because you can, it's visual obviously, like a lot of this front end development, and you can get an instant sort of quite hit of something good without having to really agonize too much over it. Let's do a spicy take number 3. I think Wix is, I'll just talk about this. So there's these sort of, if you're not aware, there's these sort of like visual builder services that have come out recently, like Wix, Squarespace. There's probably a few others, but off the top of my head, these are the two that sort of I know about the most, I guess, or I'm most aware of. Wix is, I mean, it's sort of similar, Wix, to the WordPress thing, but it isn't at the same time, because at least with WordPress, in my opinion, I say, you are less tied into their templates. I mean, you can design your own theme, you can design a child theme, you can download a decent premium theme and customize it, la la la. Wix, it's sort of the same. You've sort of got this visual builder, like what you see is what you get editor, and it seems to have a lot of benefits for end users and clients, I guess, because they feel that with Wix they can just build something intuitively without having to know any code and yada yada yada. But I mean, the thing I don't like about Wix is the sites are very, very cookie cutter. So from a design perspective, it looks just nothing really special. It's not going to make you stand out in the marketplace of the net, which is of course a huge marketplace of design and things vying for your attention. I don't think it really makes you stand out. I have seen some good Wix designs. I mean, there's though, just to counter that, I mean, you can do good things with it, but I think it takes a lot more, and I don't like how it, as a developer, I don't like how it just, again, it's just this generated code, I guess, under the surface, so you can't really customize things as much as you might want to otherwise. I mean, even in WordPress, you can access the theme, create a child theme based on that theme, and then modify parts of it, which in Wix, as far as I'm aware, you can't really do. So it doesn't have that level of customization, which as an engineer you'd probably want to have in any sort of web development ecosystem, because yeah. And also with Wix, I think your site's hosted on with them, so it's again, you're very much tied down. Squarespace is a sort of Squarespace I quite like. I know there's a site that I'm involved with which is hosted on Squarespace, and we use Squarespace. And I think Squarespace is a much more evolved actual version of Wix in a lot of respects. I think it's much more sophisticated. And I think if anyone was wanting to, it's good for like artist portfolios and stuff like that. Certainly, the actual site that I'm involved in, administrating stuff on, is an artist site basically. Squarespace is alright for that, actually, that sort of thing. Very much for creatives, I think, and it is. The only problem with Squarespace is, it's got to be said, is the cost. It's like, I think I used to host a site on Squarespace actually, and I think it cost me somewhere in the region of £10 or £20 a month. It was quite expensive actually. Now I just have a decent WordPress theme and keep it updated that way, and it costs me less. But anyway, that's sort of my take on the Wix sort of site pod thing. I don't think there's any real risk of it taken away from, like I say, building bespoke web applications. These things have use cases where they're relevant. Wix, WordPress, and all these visual builders and stuff. But there's nothing beats actually, sort of engineering something from scratch and building that, because there are many use cases where it's these things, these pre-built custom elements and everything else, you're not going to have exactly what you need. So that's that. That's been 3 hot takes on visual builders and CMSs and where CMSs are at the minute. Again, all opinion, not really fact, as it were. But yeah, if you've enjoyed listening to some of my thoughts, then subscribe below, like if you like it. I've been noirnerd. I might try and do another one of these when I've got some more ideas for hot, spicy takes. Alright, bye.